It's a quiet evening. You're alone in your apartment, cooking dinner, and something small goes missing from your kitchen. A potato peeler. Nothing dramatic, nothing cinematic. But as you walk across that parking lot, into their building, up to their door, you feel something shift inside you. Something that's been simmering for months. The door opens. It's unlocked. Of course it is. And in that single, silent moment, you get your revenge. If you've ever been dismissed, mocked, or made to feel stupid for simply trying to protect what's yours, this story is going to hit different. Hit that like button, subscribe, and settle in. Because sometimes the best revenge doesn't come with a bang. Sometimes it comes with a kitchen drawer quietly sliding open in the dark. The summer of 2020 was supposed to feel like freedom. For our storyteller, let's call her Maya, it was her first time living outside of her parents' house. She was 20 years old, working a job that paid barely enough to survive, stretching every dollar as far as it would go. So when she found a shared apartment with two people she knew from school, Joel, 24, a medical student from a wealthy family, and Sadie, 23, his best friend, it felt like a workable situation. Not perfect, but workable. The apartment was in a rough part of town, and when I say rough, I don't mean, oh, it's a little noisy at night. I mean the police were there multiple times a week. I mean people were having items stolen directly from their vehicles in the parking lot. I mean you didn't walk to your car after midnight without your keys already in your hand. Maya knew this going in. She wasn't naive, and because she wasn't naive, she had one very simple, very reasonable request. Please lock the door when you leave. That's it. That was the whole ask. Not do my dishes, not split the Wi-Fi password into thirds. Just, when you walk out that front door, turn the little tab on the deadbolt. 5 seconds. One motion. She explained it clearly. She explained it calmly. Her laptop was in that apartment, the laptop she needed for work. Not a luxury, not a toy. A tool she could not afford to replace if it walked out the door in someone else's hands. She laid all of this out to Joel and Sadie in plain language more than once. And every single time, they brushed her off. Not just ignored, brushed off. With that particular flavor of condescension that makes your stomach tighten, the kind where someone doesn't just disagree with you, they make sure you know they find you tedious. Joel, with his wealthy family safety net and his medical school confidence, would wave a hand like she was being dramatic. Sadie would smirk. They'd exchange glances. That little nonverbal conversation that says, "Can you believe this person? You're being paranoid." It's fine. Nothing's going to happen. If anything gets stolen, we'll just replace it. We'll just replace it. That sentence. Sit with that for a moment. The casual cruelty of it, spoken by someone who has never had to calculate whether they can afford groceries this week, to someone who absolutely has. We'll just replace it. As if a laptop is a paper cup. As if Maya's livelihood was just an abstract concept to them, the way it is when you've never actually had to worry about money. She came home to an unlocked, empty apartment so many times she lost count. Every time, she'd stand in the doorway, heart in her throat, scanning the room. Laptop still there. Okay. Exhale. Okay. And then feel the slow burn of fury and helplessness settle back into her chest like an old, familiar weight. Because here's the thing about being dismissed by people you live with. It's not just about the thing they're dismissing. It's about what the dismissal means. It means your concerns don't register as real to them. It means your circumstances are invisible to them. It means you are, in some fundamental way, less cautious, less worthy of being taken seriously, less right about your own life. Maya put up with it because she had to, because the apartment was affordable and options were limited, and sometimes you just survive the situation you're in. But then, a few months later, things shifted. She found a new apartment in the same complex, with her friend Maggie, someone who actually locked the door. Imagine that. And she moved out. She and Joel and Sadie stayed civil. A nod in the parking lot here, a brief hello there. Nothing more. Life moved on. Mostly. Then came the evening of the potato peeler. It sounds almost absurd to say out loud, and Maya would probably be the first to admit that. She was making dinner, alone, no drama, just a quiet night in, and she needed to peel potatoes. She went to the drawer. No peeler. Checked the drying rack. Checked the cabinet. Checked the drawer again, more slowly. The way you do when you're hoping the thing will somehow materialize if you look hard enough. Nothing. She needed it for the meal she was making. It was one of those annoying situations where there was no easy substitute, no workaround. She stood in her kitchen for a moment, thinking. And then she thought of Joel and Sadie. They were just across the complex. She had a key that worked on any building door. She could just go ask, knock, borrow it, be back in 10 minutes. Easy. She walked over, up the stairs, down the hall, knocked on their door. Silence. She knocked again. Nobody home. She stood there in the hallway for a moment, and that's when it happened. That quiet internal snap she wouldn't fully understand until it was already done. Her hand moved to the door handle almost before her brain caught up. She tried it. It opened. Of course it did. She stepped into the dark apartment, didn't turn on the lights, didn't linger. She went straight to the kitchen, opened the drawer. It was right there, exactly where you'd expect a potato peeler to be, picked it up, and walked back out. No note, no text, no mention of it, ever. Here's what makes this moment sing, and I want you to really sit with this because it's not loud or explosive or dramatic. It's quiet, and that's exactly why it works. Joel and Sadie never locked their door. They thought it was ridiculous to worry. They told Maya directly that her concerns were overblown and that things can just be replaced. And then they left their door unlocked, and something was taken from their apartment. Not something valuable, not her laptop equivalent, nothing that hurt them, nothing that cost them anything real, just a potato peeler. But that's not the point. The point is the principle. The point is that Maya walked into their space the same way strangers could have walked into hers on any one of those nights she came home to an unlocked door. She proved the vulnerability they refused to acknowledge. She exercised, in the quietest possible way, the exact logic they'd thrown at her. If something gets taken, you can just replace it. She kept that potato peeler. 6 years later, she still has it. And every single time she uses it, she says, there's this small bloom of satisfaction in her chest. Not rage, not triumph exactly. More like correctness. The quiet, steady feeling of someone who was right, who was dismissed for being right, and who got to be right anyway, in the smallest, most unassuming way imaginable. There's something we often overlook when we talk about fairness and justice. We expect it to be big, dramatic, a scene. But sometimes the most satisfying corrections are the ones that nobody else even notices. The ones that live quietly in a kitchen drawer. The ones only you know about. Maya didn't need Joel and Sadie to apologize. She didn't need a confrontation or a reckoning or an audience. She just needed to know. And now, she knows. And apparently, so does the potato peeler. If this story scratched that itch, you know the one, then smash that like button and drop a comment below. Tell me, what's the most quietly satisfying, completely petty act of justice you've ever pulled off or witnessed? I want to hear all of it. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing? Hit that button, because we've got a whole catalog of stories just like this one waiting for you. See you in the next one.